go back to the 90s for a moment. The GMC Cyclone and Typhoon had, for better or worse, influenced the next decade of the sport truck aftermarket. Simple, small trucks that would never tow anything or go off-road, bagged and modified with enough bass to put Pimp My Ride to shame. If you're lucky, you'd find some boost under the hood too. So it all came to a peak in the early 2000s, you guys know. Dodge Ram SRT10, take the V10 out of a Viper, stuff it into that. Same with the Silverado SS, and of course the F-150 Lightning. All of these trucks proved the sport truck a viable business model, at least for a time. It was kind of the peak of just a ridiculous cultural trend, right? Trucks that were built for no other reason, just to have fun on the street. It's the same story behind me.
Yeah, what's going on, guys? My name's Lee Conroy. We're back here again. Today we're going to talk about my 1987 Mitsubishi Mighty Max. So this truck, I originally bought it to be a shop work truck. Throw garbage in the back, go pick up a motor from the machine shop, stuff like that. It's still that. I mean, I'm still going to use it as a work truck. We lowered it a little bit, as you guys can see. It still has some gap, but a functional ride height. To be honest with you, I honestly went with the 4G63 just for the ease of it. The factory was, just a quick rundown, it is a 4G63B is what they call it. Shares the same bottom end, non-forged internals, but it was a single overhead cam carb. The factory motor with the single overhead cam carb, it's starting to get very hard to find parts. The motor in this is my second one. I think I got this one from the island for like 500 bucks, a fully dressed. So it's a big cost thing. So the motor's from a 1991 Mitsubishi Eclipse. It is a drop-in engine as well. So like I said, it shared the bottom end. The motor mounts line up directly with this one. It retains the factory truck transmission, so it bolts up to that directly, uses a factory truck clutch, flywheel, clutch cable, all of that as well. So the reasoning behind that was mainly just price point, the ease of it, and I mean, who doesn't love to hit some boost going to the dump?
All right guys, Mitsubishi Mighty Max. I've never driven one of these. It looks very familiar inside. I had a Mazda B2200 when I was a kid. It's got the same old truck handbrake. Door panels are pretty much the same. The door cards, the dash, it's all pretty universal. And of course, wind-up windows. In the 80s, the first generation DSM, Eagle Talon, and of course Mitsubishi Eclipse, Dodge Stealth. Basically the same vehicles. They had a partnership, and the Mitsubishi Mighty Max is a product of that partnership. Best part is, around this time, what was Mitsubishi making? Yeah, the Eclipse. What was the Eclipse powered by? The 4G63. Later, of course, became infamous for the amount of power and torque you can get out of the bottom end due to the block not being open deck. It's a closed deck, iron block design. Very clearly a truck. It's got a truck shifter. The shifter's incredibly loose. All right, we'll give it a little bit of second gear roll on. Fully sideways there. I'm trying to take it easy. There's a little bit of a third gear grind. Oh my, all right. 75 miles an hour there, burning rubber. Third hooked up until we got full boost, and then it did not.
It is a real sleeper truck, and that's what I was after. So on a Mustang dyno, it made 341 rear wheel horsepower over 311 foot-pounds torque.
Now, is that dyno jet corrected or no?
No, that's just Mustang dynos, heartbreaker.
So that's at 30 pounds. You said you were going to drop the boost a little bit?
Yeah,
or?
so at 30 pounds of boost, it was making that. I did bring it down to like 20, 22 pounds of boost. The tires are not set up for a turbo setup at all. They were meant for the carb motor, so it'll spin them pretty quick. 20 pounds of boost when it's warm. It'll hook and hold. Okay, so the turbo setup in this, is just a cheap Chinese. It's $125 turbo. I wanted to try keeping everything original, as true as Mitsubishi as I could. So I went with just cheap eBay crap to see if it would work. Turbo's 125 bucks. I don't know, could be a boost speeding, could be eBay, Mongolian masher, who knows. The manifold, believe it or not, it's eBay. It was like 98 bucks. It's meant for this actual motor, but a stock frame. Quick rundown, bolted on the motor outside of the truck. Everything fit, it was great. This turbo sat down here and it was a bottom mount turbo. Went to go put it in the truck. It hits the control arm down there and the motor mount. I didn't want to buy another manifold. Again, didn't know if it would work. So we literally just cut the flange, all 4 runners, flipped it upside down, welded it, bolted it on, and I mean, it works. Downpipe was 98 bucks off Amazon. Fuel rail stock, the intake manifold stock. We did have to modify it. You guys can see there is some cut weld marks here and here. We just took the end. This used to be back here because it was sitting horizontal for an all-wheel drive car. We just cut it, did a front-facing manifold, used the same plate in the back just to seal it. A couple little minor things we had to do here, because it is in like a rear-wheel drive application now, is the water pump is from a truck, so you can't use the car one. The pulley is from the Eclipse motor. You have to bring it to a machine shop, press it flat, so it can actually sit in line with the belt on the crank and the alternator. The alternator is the original truck one. It's able to bolt up to the factory block. It keeps the factory serpentine belt. It's a E30 rad I found off Marketplace. It was cheap. Just it was aluminum. I could cut and weld this in to put the AN lines. The only major modification we really had to do, might be a bit hard to see on camera, but in the back is a aluminum billet block. So the factory motors have a big thermostat. It's got like the housing and all that there. You obviously can't fit it without cutting and modifying the firewall. So I did a billet block. It's probably about 1.5 inches thick. I don't know, maybe like 6 to 8 inches long roughly, and it goes to a -16 AN. So that's how I'm able to run the AN line up here. Keep a coolant temp sensor in the back. I didn't have to modify the firewall. I was able just to fit right in.
See if we can do a little burnout here. Little launch. Pop. Fire, maybe. Scary. Scary, scary. The brakes are freaking me out. This thing. This thing has no brakes. This is what I want, though. I want to. In the 3rd, 4th shift, when I shifted there from 3rd to 4th, I'm like having second guesses in the back of my mind. I'm like, is this safe? Should I do a 4th gear pull here? Whereas in like an R35 GTR or something like that, or a new GT3 RS, you don't think about going into 4th and doing a pull. You know you have massive carbon ceramic brakes to slow you down. So if we're at like 2,500, 4,000, it just blows the tires right off. Side exit exhaust. That's very Viper-esque, the side exit exhaust. Now this has a steering box. Of course, 80s, and it's a truck, so it's a very utilitarian vehicle. Steering feel was not the priority. It's kind of loose on center, but probably the best steering box car I've ever driven. Like, the dead spot on center is not nearly as big as I would have expected. It is not a chasm. It actually has a little bit of feel when you get into it. And of course, it's non-power steering, non-power assisted. There we go, I'm getting the clutch. It's a 6-puck clutch. It has been upgraded. Once you get it, you know, it's actually, once you're off the line, it's totally docile, totally daily drivable. But Lee's gone ahead and replaced all the bushings, everything like that in the steering box. So it all feels fresh, it all feels as good as it can get. He was explaining it to me like before and after, night and day difference.
The whole motor is all like the original crank. We just refreshed it.
Yeah.
New valve seals, head gasket. We did do a little bit extra, like the ARP head studs, just because we are running a decent amount of boost to help hold it down. You know, I want to put cams in it just for the lope sound, the lump to it, but even then it's just, it makes enough power. We don't really need much more. The main thing about putting it down, I am going to put in LSD so it can at least do both wheels. The way you see the interior is pretty well factory minus the Recaro seat. So the Recaro seats are from the 10th gen Evo, same as like what you've seen in my car. The cluster is from the Sport model. Like I said, it has the factory speedo and tack in there. The original one just came with a giant speedometer. The center console is out of my Dodge Ram 50 model. I kept that before I sold it as well. Truck never came with cup holders, so it's nice to still bring Timmy's Starbucks with you. Have spent a bunch of time cleaning it up. It was a lot dirtier, and I wouldn't recommend doing it for a first engine swap. No.
Okay.
I don't want to sit here and say it's not doable. The biggest thing is you got to be open-minded and be able to think outside the box. A lot of this stuff was like, sure, taking the motor, just bolting it in, it bolts up to the trans, it's easy. The computer management in it, it's not on a standalone. I had my tuner help me out a lot with that. So that was a big thing that I didn't know what we were going to do with it. We didn't really touch much on that. I'll just run you through. The ECU is a base Lancer 2006. We kept the original engine harness and the ECU. It's a flashable ECU, so we're able to load an Evo 8 ROM on it to power the car. We took Evo X coil packs, got rid of the igniters and the spark plug wires, so it's like a cheap homemade cop kit. I know a bunch of friends to help fabricate stuff, or, you know, like I mentioned with the tuning, I can do the mechanic work myself, so financials, right? I save a lot on my own personal labor.
Yes.
Just time.
And it's more satisfying than when you get to finish the truck, obviously.
Yeah. When I seen this thing go on the dyno and come off, I was pretty proud. I was pretty stoked. It over exceeded my expectations altogether. I would have never ever thought I could have had a 340, and it worked. It didn't blow up, and I can still drive it around, right? Has one small oil leak. We're winning.
Yeah.
I can't
100%.
complain.
It's kind of funny too, because it takes everything that DSMs are known for, which is like great traction. A lot of people build drag cars out of those things, and it strips like a lot of that out of it, and it just gives you the most raw form, uncontrollable form, unfiltered form of the 4G63 that you can get. I cannot imagine this thing at 30 pounds. 30 pounds is so wildly unnecessary. It's hooking up now. So the first time when I rolled into third gear, when full boost hit around 4,000 RPM, it did not hook up, but now it's fine. Now it's drivable. We're good. It is really just all or nothing though. It's even half throttle in second gear. You think, oh, I can maybe just kind of smoothly roll into the torque. No, it just jumps. It literally jumps to 65, 7,000 RPM as soon as boost hits. I think my favorite part about this build is that in hindsight, it seems so obvious. The engine was there the whole time, but of course, that's not what Japanese manufacturers were doing in the late 90s and early 2000s. They weren't trying to keep up with the American Big Three, stuffing sports car engines into sports trucks. But here it just seems natural. It's up through and through. It's a Japanese muscle truck. So thank you guys for watching. We've got merch dropping. That's why I'm here, straight up. It's been years since we've dropped anything. I'm wearing a special Stage Route 5 sweater right now. Maybe you guys are too young to know the infamous Tokyo Street Circuit from the original Gran Turismo games. That was my childhood. It was, you know, Facebook didn't exist, YouTube didn't exist. Those were the stories. And the cars in those games and the tuning culture of the mid-2000s was so ridiculous and insane in just kind of a funny way looking back. And it's like ingrained in all of us. It was a huge part of getting a lot of us to where we are in terms of just being into cars, whatever it is that we're doing today. Behind me, of course, I've got the same design in white, and then we've got one of the Need for Speed Underground 2 gauge clusters on a hoodie, as well as some other stuff. So 7 days from now, Saturday, May 24th, it's gonna be live. That one's embroidered too. Really cool design, simple, vibrant colors, and it's subtle enough that most people won't even know what it is. That's the best part. If this is for you, it's for you. If it's not, that's okay. Thanks guys for watching. We'll see you next time.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Rachel, Samantha's friend. I heard your plane finally got in. Well, welcome to Bayview.